Hey guys, what's up? I'm back, and today we're going to be reviewing a war club. Now, this particular war club I did make myself. As you see, it's very crudely constructed, but I'm sure in a, let's just say, zombie apocalypse situation, this would definitely do it. So let's start off with the basics. It is a wood shaft, which I took from a rake. It is originally the handle of a rake, in which I cut down, used half of it for a knife rack, and the rest of the handle is now here. And that is what it basically is. Now, of course, as you see, I've added some things, such as screws, which are going in opposite directions of each other up here. Each screw is put in halfway, so that each end sticks out. There's a nice nail up there for poking out zombie eyes or something. And let me stress it that this is for a zombie apocalypse situation, which probably will never happen, but as I told you guys before, these type of weapons I make are purely for novelty and will absolutely never be used on a person. Now the handle's kind of interesting because normally when I make my handles I would just do tape heavily wrapped, which this is. It is tape heavily wrapped, but there's something else. Underneath this is actually rope, that twine type rope. And essentially what I did, I drilled a hole, ran the twine through, tied it, and wrapped it tightly all the way down. Drilled another hole, ran it through, tied it, and then I went over it again, and same thing. I did this about 2 or 3 times, so underneath this tape is actually a very comfortable and very thick twine handle. And it's very tightly wrapped, and I gotta say, it worked out better than I thought it would. And then on top of that, we have this masking tape, which has been heavily wrapped. So yes, it's crude, but this handle is a little more durable than what I normally do, and it's a lot more comfortable. Now, I hit myself with this, not when it had the screws on it, just when it was a bare stick. And it was just a light hit, and I gotta say it really hurt. And the reason for that is because, well, for one, this is made in a factory. It's chopped down and it's treated somehow in a factory. It's not pure wood from outside like I've done with my other war clubs I've made. So it's going to be all the more harder. It's not going to be dried out, and it's not going to be all rotted and dead. On top of that, it's very thin. So when you have a very solid, pole that is very small in diameter, you're going to get a lot of force hitting a very small area, and that's going to hurt even more. Now, when you put all these nails on here and stuff, that is going to cause some severe bleeding, a lot of trauma, probably going to hit some arteries and veins. The zombie will probably bleed out fairly quick. Now, I did put this nail in the end here, but I'm thinking about taking it out. Because as you see, it's kind of cracking the wood there. And I don't like that. So, I'm thinking about taking this nail in the very end out. But as of now, it's in this current form. And yes, I am doing this review using a skateboard, an old skateboard, on top of a garbage can as a table. The light is right up there, so it's the best place to get light for this video. I'm in my garage, so there's not much light. So that's essentially it. Of course, we're not going to test it because I don't want it to break. Maybe we'll test in the future. Maybe on pumpkin or watermelons. But that is essentially it as of now. Now, before we end this video, I'm not going to make a 4-minute video and upload it, of course. So, I'm going to show you some other stuff. Now, I tested these the other day on the punching bag, but it was so dark you didn't really get a good look at them. So, I call this one the Shredder. And I call it that because it has real glass. This is not fake. It has real glass, which has been broken. Which has been purposefully broken and then super glued onto a rag. Now, this is the most delicate one, as the wood, it's not as solid as the other 3. It's kind of cracking there, and the glass, of course, falls off when you hit something with it. But still, for a few strikes, if you're going up against a zombie, you could probably shred him open pretty good with that. Of course, being a rag, if you wanted to, you could dip that in gasoline or lighter fluid. Or you could probably do it dry. the super glue would probably act as a propellant, and that could go up in flames. So, this is kind of a torch and a weapon in one. And like I gotta say again, this would never be used for hurting people. You know how people are. You gotta tell them that it's not being used for nefarious purposes. Now this one's made out of a 2x4, and I gotta admit the grip is very uncomfortable. Believe it or not, it was more uncomfortable than this jagged wood at first, and then I batoned half of it off, so it's better. I'm probably going to improve on that when the video is done. But here, we have a piece from an old shaving razor, you know, like what the barber uses on your head. Some screws mounted on there, and yes, the wood is split there. That was a mistake, I didn't drill a hole first. And back here you have two metal plates, which can act as bashers. I call this one right here the basher. Basher, shredder, peg sticker. Now there is one more, and I'll get that just now, so just hold on a sec. Now this one you're looking at right here is the first one I ever made, and as you see it has been burned. Yes, I did wrap cloth around these spikes, and I did burn it. And it worked very well as a torch. And this is solid wood. I'm not sure what type of wood, I just know that it's solid. I actually cut a dying tree out of the forest. It was dying, so it was not living anymore, but the wood was still solid, and it was still moist. It was in its last stages. All the leaves had fallen off, and this was in the middle of summer, by the way. But all the leaves had fallen off, and it was just sucking up all the nutrients from the other tree. But it had enough moisture in it to live while I turned it into this. So when I did cut it, it was solid, not rotted out. So this was originally a whole little tree. I cut it down the size. Sorry, I took all the bark off it and I put it out front, leaning it up against my tree. It dried out. When it was dried out and it was solid, I cut it down the size, and we have this. Put in the screws, put my little logo on there, which I fucking think is awesome. It's two S's with fangs and shit, and its name, Lil Stevo. It's fucking crazy, and it's ready to go, just like me. Now that sounds kind of freaky. Yeah, so, yeah, that sounds kind of freaky. I was just trying to sound cool. But, yeah, that's that. So I think all four of these together, if this was my only option in a zombie apocalypse, up until I could find guns, I'm pretty sure these would last me for a decent amount of time. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Please like, subscribe, leave a nice comment. Have a great day and a great night and whatever.